The coolest tennis racket ever, tested by the coolest tennis YouTuber ever.
And me. Ben and Joe from PH Tennis here, and we have the winningest tennis racket ever?
Oh, I don't know, certainly Federer's winningest racket. So the racket that he used for the longest part of his career, winning 17 slams with it.
That's crazy.
He won Wimbledon 2003 with it, his first one. He also went all the way up until 2012 with this racket. It's the racket that I think about when I think about Federer. I think of the whites, I think of the green courts of Wimbledon, and I think of the K-Factor Six.One Tour.
Yes, it's certainly probably the most iconic tennis racket ever.
Close, maybe the old 85 is close with the likes of Sampras, but to me this is the coolest racket out there, and I'm super excited to get out and give it a try.
Yes, now we have to be careful, Joe. We're on shaky ground with our Federer nerds out there. This isn't the exact same frame that he won with, but it is the closest you can get to the one he was actually using that was in various guises over that period of time.
Yes, exactly. So you've got different paint jobs, but essentially this is the racket and the racket specs closest to what he was using throughout that dominant, perhaps the most dominant period in tennis. Certainly my favourite period of tennis when he was dominating during that time. It is a 90 square inch head, so a huge head size compared to what he was using previously with the 85. It's a 16 by 19 pattern, nice and open, and we have got Federer's setup here down to the T. We're talking power pads, we're talking string savers, we've got natural gut mains, the actual natural gut that he used. Well, no, I mean we didn't take it out of his racket, but in ours. But it's Babolat VS Touch, and it is Luxolon Alu Power Rough in the crosses, strung at, Ben,
£50 in the mains, and like the man himself, we did those crosses slightly lower, taking 3 or 4 pounds off there. But as some of you may be aware, Mr. Federer was a very particular and more adaptable than maybe any other tennis player in history. And he prepared for this adaptation by stringing all of his rackets through a range of tensions so he could go up, go down, depending on how the game was going. So there was no exact tension for Roger. This, however, is sort of the best average, I guess we could say.
Yes. So, time for us to get on court, test it out, put it through its paces.
Alright, so as you can see, we've got loads of pro stuffs behind us. We have the whole history of Roger's rackets, and when we finished testing them, we all took one away. This is the racket Joe chose because it's the coolest racket ever.
Yes, so when we were deciding who was going to spend more time with each of the Federer rackets, there was never any question about which one I was going to choose. It is this one because it is iconic to me, and I think that if I'm honest, no matter how it felt, I was going to love it because it's cool and because I wanted to love it.
So, what did you think? Let's dive in.
It's surprising. It's not as difficult to use as I thought it was going to be. It is much more forgiving than the smaller head, than the older 85. You get lots more spin. We'll get to categories in a minute, but it plays fairly close to what I consider a modern racket for something that is so old.
Yeah, I completely agree. I was surprised the jump from the original to this was far bigger, a yawning chasm, so to speak, than it was to the RF97 that came after this.
Yes, and essentially my first thought is I absolutely loved playing with it. It was such a joy to play with. The sun was out, we got natural gut in the strings, it was absolutely beautiful, and the ball went where I wanted it to go, and that to me is glorious.
It's one of those days that didn't quite feel like work.
No, exactly.
Yeah. It turns out our friends and partners and people presume that we get to work and just have a laugh playing tennis all day. Some days are more fun than others, and yesterday was very, very good.
Yes.
And it was really nice using them, and I completely agree.
Yeah, I think it's probably the nanotechnology that was that really topped off the day, or the Carafite black.
Well, that might have been Josh's dainty backhand.
It might have been, yes.
Ow. Before we talk endlessly round and round, let's jump into our categories. Power, Joseph, what do you think?
Yes, quite a bit. Like actually, again, in the theme of being surprised, that was the surprising thing. It didn't feel underpowered at all, and I found even much newer pro staffs than this to feel slightly underpowered and more difficult to use. And I actually felt like, again, maybe it was sunny and maybe just on the testing that I did, I caught the ball nicely. But I think that out of the sweet spot, you get absolutely loads of power, and the gut especially, you get power with feel and the massive amounts of control. Again, I'm skipping ahead, but it's worth sort of mentioning those things in alongside the power, because the power is the surprise and the other things are expected.
Yeah, I guess the issue with a lot of rackets of this ilk, these smaller head size, precision frames, is that the sweet spot famously is smaller, but also juicier, sweeter.
Yes.
It's a sweeter, juicier sweet spot.
Yes.
So when you get it right, it absolutely flies, and that is what was happening with this. So it was harder to generate power because it's almost like you've got to be precise with it. But when you get it right, boy, is there a lot of juice there.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
But what about spin?
Well, more, not loads. If you're used to playing the way I am with, I play with a powerful frame with polyester strings, so you get loads and loads of spin. It's really easy to generate spin. That is not the case with this. I think the addition of the Alu Power Rough helps with that. You've still got, it's 90 square inch head, but it's 16-19, so you've got enough movement in the strings. I think you can generate some spin. I couldn't generate nearly as much as Federer seemed able to create.
It was surprising, wasn't it?
Yeah, potentially he's a better ball striker than me. Maybe physically more imposing too, perhaps. But yeah, again, it's not great for spin. If you want help getting loads of spin, you're probably not going to choose this, but
But that's the point. You wouldn't. It's not designed for spin. It's not meant to be for spin. It's not really meant to be for power. But we get plenty of power. Maybe surprisingly so. We get a little bit of spin. Doesn't really matter. It's not what the racket was intended for. What this racket was designed for is perfect precision and ultimate control.
Yes.
What do you think, Joe?
Absolute authority over the direction of the ball.
Yes, this is a new phrase for us, directional authority, and one we absolutely love, which perfectly describes these rackets.
Yeah, it does. I don't really think you can go on too much about it. It's we reviewed the Regner some months ago, Ben and I, and it one of the things that we said was that if you get it wrong, if the shot goes badly with a Regner, you know exactly why, and the reason was you got it wrong. In terms of control with a racket like this, if you missed, you missed. The racket didn't. It is absolutely laser-like, as you'd expect from a player like Roger, but also from the whole sort of pro staff range. That's what they're built on. It is precision, it is accuracy, and this is absolutely phenomenal for that.
I might light the touch paper on our friends in the comment section a little bit here.
Okay.
I reckon that if you were going to create a scale of control precision, this is the benchmark. This is the 100. This is perfect.
Yes.
So when people say, "Oh, this racket lacks a bit of control," it's in comparison to this. So, for example, if a pure drive was 100 for power, this particular racket, I'd say, is probably 100 for control.
Yes, agreed. Because even more so than the later edition, where it got a little bit bigger. Yes, 100%. The Hundy on control.
Yes, there you go. So feel, is it a nice racket to play with?
Yes, but I don't know if that's because I was so in love with the whole idea of it before even striking a ball, and I also, we don't play with a lot of natural gut. It's ludicrously expensive. It doesn't last very well. But when you have natural gut in, that's the 100 out of 100 for feel. Yes. When you've got a full bed of natural gut. This has obviously been hybridized. Yeah. With a poly cross, but you get wonderful feel in and around the net. It's like having the ball on a little fluffy string that you can just drop into corners and just guide into space. The feel is absolutely phenomenal. You've obviously got a nice long shaft here, which means that the flexion is down here, loads and loads of stability and loads of control, and that all adds into the feel of the racket. I feel it particularly when volleying. I like to be at the net volleying, and I think that when you are with Pro Stars in general, but with this one in particular, it is a feel like no other. Buttery goodness.
Yes, I would say in if we sort of sidle into our conclusion, what I think sort of stands out for me about this particular frame is that it has character.
Yep.
And in terms of the feel, I think that's where it is. Lots of modern rackets, they're all of them are going softer, more comfy. And I don't know if that's to protect us all from tennis elbow we're getting from playing too much with rackets that aren't appropriate or whatever it might be. That softness is sort of taking something away from these rackets. Like,
some of the sort of purity.
Yeah, and I would say that, you know, we often talk about the homogenization of tennis frames. And if you go back to this era, you had Rafa with his pure aero. You think about Roddick had that pure drive, and then you have Murray and Juggler. Everyone's sort of using, and they were very different. And this sort of stood out as one of those sort of benchmarks of this is a certain racket with a certain way of playing. And nowadays they all just a bit more similar, right? And so something about this, the way it feels is very unique. It's very special. It's got a lot of characters. It is a cool racket. Yeah, we can say it.
Also, the game is more homogeneous.
Yes,
the way tennis is played now, you don't have big differences between surfaces. No. Much debated and argued about very recently in the tennis world. Yes, this is a sort of standalone control, the absolute sort of pinnacle to me of control. Beautiful coolness.
Yes, so as good as this video has been, you're welcome. It's a bit tricky because you can't really go out and buy one of these. If you can find one, and if you've got one knocking around somewhere, dust it off, get it strung up fresh, and go out and give it a go. It is really good fun. I would say, and this has only just come to me whilst doing this, the Ultra 99 Pro is probably the most similar in terms of feel.
Yeah, you could, if you went maybe the Ultra 99 Pro, leather gripped it, maybe a bit of weight down here to give it a little bit more in the handle.
Because it's one of those old sort of pro style frames, it's got that similar sort of more old school feel.
Connectedness.
Yeah, connectedness. So if you're looking for something equivalent, or you used to use one of these and you want to get a new racket that's quite similar, that's where I'd suggest you start your journey.
There you go.
There you go.
Nothing if not thorough. As always, don't forget to like, follow, share and subscribe so you never miss a thing from PH Tennis.